team will be Hurricane on the offense, first up, and it will be Young and Beautiful on the defense, respectively. Now, what are we likely to see here from Young and Beautiful? Because we've seen a little bit more tank play than we normally would have had in the first couple of weeks of groups. So we're expecting Young and Beautiful to do that because Ben Best, his Reinhardt is pretty damn good. It's been pretty solid throughout the entirety of the group stages. Winston a little less so, so Dive really doesn't scream. We're going to pick this right here.
Well, Ben Best here, when we look at his tanks, it's sort of like you got to sort of weigh it up. Do we go aggressive with the dive where we can make some real inroads against British Hurricanes? We saw on Venom Barney attack because British Hurricanes sometimes are a little bit weaker when they're playing defensively, when they can't play that aggressive style that they want to, and they have to play around their supports and they're all getting cleaved out by something like a Winston or Shadow with his dives. Or they can put Ben Best on what we'd argue is his best hero on the Reinhardt, where he can be a little bit more effective. This is going to be a reminiscent callback to what we've seen from Giganti, what we call the dive heart here. The combination in the tank line of both Reinhardt and D.Va means you've got a little bit of mobility. Saini can ferry himself between a front and back line to try and defend everybody, but likely they're going to be sticking together because both Gustav and Ding, they're proximity-based healers. You need to be very close to them if you want to keep yourself alive. British Hurricane, on the other hand, they can play something a bit more divey, try and exploit the fact that Young and Beautiful are all together, surround and maybe have some roads of ingress from other points. But instead, it looks like they're going to be coming out with the quad tank. This was popularized on this map by Angry Titans. Maybe British Hurricane have learned a thing or two.
Well, they definitely should have done, considering they went to the 5th game against Angry Titans, against their quad tank that was, like you rightfully said. They're going to rush straight onto the point. Ben Best taking a whole lot of damage, so much pressure. Look, targeting him straight out. Shield's almost going to go down as well, but Shadow finds Pocket in the mess of it all. Does manage to pick off at least one support, but they have got control over that point. 5 members stacking on it, and it's all up to Shadow now to just sling some shurikens in to try and take someone out. Pocket's going to come back pretty fast. The charge comes through, doesn't quite land the pin, but they've already managed to accrue a tick.
Patience here from Young and Beautiful. They need to be careful. Pocket's going to be re-entering soon. He's already respawned. He's got that fade to get back. Fuges is falling low, and the Coalescence is going to be enough pressure.
Tried to get the charge out, and Ben Best takes care of Happycool's mech, but Saini is going to have his mech destroyed as well. Ding finds some nice geometry on the orb, takes that Kraken Crusade. They end up giving up a tick there. That's definitely something that we shouldn't be frowned upon, really. I mean, you're not going to know they're running quad tanks straight out the gate and pushing onto the point, and even losing a member. British Hurricane did fairly well.
Yeah, you'll trade a tick for a fight win any day of the week, I imagine. Gustav has already built himself up towards that sound barrier. Some very good healing coming out from him, and I imagine some great sound waves laid down as well on the meaty targets of British Hurricane. Ben Best, you can see, he's a little bit further back, doesn't want to be run down, but he's got to watch out for the hook from Kib. It's already been spent. Now, Shadow and Dempsey, they can be a bit more aggressive.
Shadow finding the dash and Crusade, yet another support falls at the start of the fight. Kib unleashes that whole hog, trying to push a couple of people back, but that beat is going to get dropped, securing 6 members in that massive AoE health pool. It's going to tick over though, and they should be able to move their way onto the point. The Graviton Surge comes out, but Craggy already falls. Self-destruct comes through, but it's going to get mostly blocked up. Shadow's the only one that's going to fall to it. But look at the ultimate economy here from Young and Beautiful. They've got 5 to work with. Shadow's going to come down pretty early. There comes 1, but a big boop in fact. 2 members go off the face of the map. Pocket goes 1, and Kib is going to follow him straight up. Young and Beautiful. Gustav coming up big with the plays.
I've never seen that many people enter the Cherry Blossom Gardens under Hanamura in one fight. We saw Saini go down right after he used his boosters. Kib had identified that he didn't have that particular cooldown, but now Craggy and Fusions are making a re-entry. They smell blood in the water, and they can smell that they're going to be able to get another tick potentially.
Ben Best went ahead with no healing, was about half HP, and just sacrificed himself, and looks like they're just going to sacrifice the point as well. Big change up here for Young and Beautiful, changing a lot of their members for the defense. Gustav hopping over to the Ana now, but wow, that was Ben Best overstepping there. Didn't have Shadow, but he is going to switch over to Winston.
Honor and Glory quickly becoming cringing and embarrassment there for Ben Best, unfortunately. He is going to be swapping over to the Winston. Let's see if it's going to be a little bit more effective, a little bit more verticality available here. Shadow does have that blade in his back pocket, but Crusade's going to be ready to try and beat him out with that breakdown. He can give everyone 500 HP worth of overshield. The remainder of Young and Beautiful may have to try and force this out a little bit earlier. Gustav over onto Viana. He's put on sublime performances with it thus far. Happycool's going to try and focus that defense matrix on him, deny the healing.
It's still really hard to actually cut through all those members with the blade, but he's going to unleash it anyway. The beat has been dropped. The Shadow hits the floor, but in fact, he hit the bubble mostly. Happycool gets slept in the sidelines. Coalescence from Pocket is going to force Dempsey to play very, very defensively. Goes down extremely low, but Young and Beautiful support players are still alive. The problem is a lot of these players are actually out of eyesight now, so they can't actually heal them up. AoE healing, well, sorry, line of sight healing is needed from the Ana and the Zenyatta. Just means that British Hurricane Gang can force their way onto the point. Craggy with 90% almost on this Graviton Surge. Hasn't found one just yet, but all of the members of Young and Beautiful are going to be able to charge that up quite nicely. Shadow gets caught. Tensi's in the same boat as him. Gets demec'd, but that's all said and done for them as Fusions comes in with the hammer.
It looked like such a good fight there for Young and Beautiful. They took down Fusions early, but now it's just for Dribs and the Drabs of Young and Beautiful trying to make their way onto the point, and it won't be enough. They gave up 2 ticks basically for 3 jaws. Ding and Gustav a little bit trepidatious about getting on that point. 200 HP, pretty squishy, trying to cross-heal each other, but Gustav wasn't going to survive for long, so they gave up 2 ticks, and from there on, they were just on the back foot. They were forced to play a little bit suboptimally to move on to the point, keep it in contestation while they were trying to fight that out, and eventually, it was a loss for them. Fusions managed to come back from spawn with a couple of charges. He was feeling like a nice fast boy, and came back, started swinging it down. Craggy farming up Sani on that mech, carving his initials into there. Built up a Graviton incredibly quickly as well, and that caught Shadow when he came back on the Sombra, and you can't translocate out of that.
Oh no, you cannot. You're all stuck. Nothing to really do except accept your fate at the end of it all. Shadow and Dempsey playing rather far up as well here, Legday. It was very, very, like you said, trepidation of them. They were really pushed up. It was like they wanted to punish the backline of Hurricane, but the problem was, you can't, Ana can't heal you. That orb will disappear. The orb of harmony will disappear off you after around 3 seconds. So there's no healing, meaning that you can't really receive that support, and your supports are kind of left all alone. Yes, they're next to spawn, but they're not providing any of that crucial healing you need in the clutchest of moments.
Yeah, Ben Best and Sani being taken down there really spelt the doom of Young and Beautiful. And usually British Hurricane, on a quad tank, if they lose fusions, they don't have that shielding, they just become a nice juicy ball of ult charge for the enemy, but unfortunately Young and Beautiful didn't have a target focus there to take one of them down. The healing from Bucket and Crusade was too great. They managed to peel for each other fantastically. Craggy's use of the bubbles, incredibly efficient. Every time we saw him glowing like a Christmas tree. 70 charge plus, and that's how we managed to build up that Graviton Surge incredibly quickly again as well.
Well, it is all dive, dive, dive for British Hurricane on this defense with an ammo to supplement their damage with that nano boost, and even a grenade as well to throw out the front line. Ben Best looking like he wants to stick onto this Reinhardt, so dive heart it will be for Young and Beautiful. It's worked out for them at least a couple of times thus far. Ben Best, like we mentioned before, definitely one of his better heroes, the Reinhardt. And it's actually been popularized by CIS Hope, Giganti, like you mentioned a little bit earlier.
And in anticipation, potentially, of Ben Best on the Reinhardt, they've decided not to go for the Lucio. Crusade and Bucket would be incredibly vulnerable to a dive here. They don't have a speed boost, but you know what else is vulnerable? Ben Best, when he's laid upon by the remainder of British Hurricane and Young and Beautiful. Now, they're stuck up the river without a paddle, Jaws. They've got no shield, and they're just 5 targets. They don't really know where to go here. Their only protection here is Sani. Things quickly building up to a coalescence, but they're surrounded on all sides, and they can try and spawn camp Ben Best if they so desire.
That's exactly what Craggy was doing. He was way near, same with Kib in fact, he was on top of that gate. They just had to wait for Ben Best to come through and just chunk him out to start off with. Now going to make sure they corral the rest of Young and Beautiful in. Ben Best did make his way towards the rest of his team, did manage to find a little bit of healing as well on the way, so rather quick ults coming out through from Ding. Coalescence on straight onto the point, however a stick onto Shadow is going to dash out of the way. That's a big DPS threat now down for Hurricane.
He's going to explore Japan. Fusions, however, is going to be exploring some pain because Fusions is laying down quite a bit of damage on him, as is Dempsey. Almost got that pulse bomb ready to go. Where's he going to decide to put it? He's looking for supports right now, going up to the high ground.
Uh-oh, Ding. Oh no,
not like this!
Missed! Straight up in front of him, he flicked to the right, didn't end up getting the connection. Fusion's going down to Ding after using that Primal Rage. Just means Bucket can't really find a target now unless he waits for that Blade. Kib has got 99% on it, but he ends up going down regardless. So no more Blade, no more Nano Blade, I should say, and Kib, no more Blade either, because he's actually going to fall also. Young and Beautiful securing a tick. They end up cleaning up the rest of the DPS, and that will be them securing the first point.
Fusion's, however, the only one to invest in ultimate there, apart from maybe Craggy throwing out an early Pulse Bomb. He used the Primal Rage. British Hurricane ready to defend stalwart with 4 ultimates in their bank once Crusade hits with 1 more orb. Young and Beautiful on the other side, they have Shadow. With the Blade, all important, those dash resets very good at trying to try and break this point down. However, he's not going to have a damage boost, he's not going to have a nano boost, no harmony orb either. He's got to be very careful about the lack of healing he's going to have. Maybe he can get an overshield from Gustav with that sound barrier.
Oh, Craggy actually gets nanoed. I think Craggy dashed in front of Kib, I don't know. Dragon Blade came out, Ben Best is going to get destroyed. He gets cast up into a million pieces. Shadow now comes through with his Blade though, but he's going to have to back off rather sharp as he goes deeply purple. And that'll be Kib taking care of him. Deep in water he is, and that will mean British Hurricane do find the defense to start off with. And that was only the nano boost and the blade actually used in that engagement.
Craggy potentially body blocking the nano boost. That's what good teammates do, Jaws. They body block for the others, try and save their lives.
I'll take that.
Yep, just like, don't worry, Kib, I'll take the nano. You go on without me. However, I said it before, Bucket on the Ana. I'm very excited to see it on Hanamura point B. Crusade still keeping his keeping that Transcendence close to hand, but Shadow's already going to be putting in a lot of... Oh, okay,
cheeky.
That's one way to block the charge.
The cheeky Crusade. Try and get a right click, but it didn't work out. Craggy actually gets shattered, even though the bubble was on him, and that Flame Strike will end up securing his life. And now Ben Best falling, so a DPS and a tank down for either side. In fact, Bucket is going to fall as well in that back line. Dempsey found the pulse bomb finally. Didn't miss it this time around. He had his mark. There is the self-destruct. Comes out, managed to secure the kill on Gustav, so now Young and Beautiful are forced to retreat. Shadow still has that blade, but Saini didn't have a mech, didn't have a hope, and no dreams left.
Saini trying to get a little bit of a Reddit clip there, but I'm going to go ahead and call it a waste because he was trying to push it off high ground. Didn't quite get the push him that he wanted. Now Craggy's already putting a couple of clips into Ben Best, trying to build up towards the ultimate yet again. 62%. He's not going to get Earth Shattered this time because, of course, Ben Best has swapped over to the Winston. No longer has to worry about that very angry German man coming at him. Shadow still got that blade. Of course, Crusade, he was forced to use that Transcendence by Ben Best, putting a well-placed charge into that short corridor.
Now Shadow, he's still got that blade. Kib switching over to that Sombra this time around instead. Really heavily prioritizing. It was I like to see the Sombra come out, especially against this Genji. You can really shut him down if you do find that hack. He trying to find the boop onto the Winston, but he ends up going up there anyway. Shadow with the deflect, trying to kill some supports in the back line, but they're just going to retreat straight back to spawn, like you were mentioning before. Extremely low, no healing to bear either, and Kib's going to just pick him out of the sky. Craggy's going to find the D-suit as well onto the Diva, and that should be, again, a very clean and easy sweep here for Hurricane. They've even got that Transcendence to use now. Shadow not being able to pop that blade just meant easy ult charge for Crusade, and now they've got a way out as well.
And every time you watch competitive Overwatch at the high level, you will hear people talk about win conditions, Jaws. And win conditions aren't just about thinking about yours. You've got to think about the enemy win conditions as well. And British Hurricane know there's one big win condition for Young and Beautiful, and that's Shadow 2K bringing out a huge blade. That's why Crusade and Bucket, they're playing incredibly defensively, sometimes putting out as much healing as maybe need be, so they don't get baited into an area where they can't retreat from Shadow for next engagement. That's a very optimistic pulse on to start off from Craggy, though.
It was. It looked like he tried to stick it on Shadow there. Like you said, they want to know if Shadow can pull out this blade, but they're not willing to test him for it. Craggy now is going to find himself on Ben Best. He's discorded and he is hacked. There's nothing you can really do about that. There's Young and Beautiful once again falling down, and now Kib, hey, guess what he's got? He's got an EMP to owe with.
And when you're being this cautious about the Dragon Blade that can come out from Kib, Crusade can pretty laissez-faire with his Transcendence ultimate. He doesn't have to use it to try and counteract the blade because he knows that himself and Bucket have another safety net, and that is the spawn. Ding moving over from the Moira onto the Zenyatta, deciding he's going to try and lay down a little bit more long-range fire, keep Shadow 2K nice and healed up with that Harmony ult from a distance, which he didn't have before because both the Moira and the Lucio were proximity-based healers. There are so many ultimates in the bank now for Young and Beautiful, and they decide to take one more economy push, build up towards that Transcendence, then go in with 6. But here, British Hurricane, they have so many, they need to bait a few out in this next fight.
Well, there's the blade. Shadow finally hears that Q key, but he's trying to find a target. Oh no, Crusade! You weren't in the spawn just yet. That self-destruct, making sure Shadow can't actually get on down to Pocket, was pretty good. The only kill thus far is going to come through for Shadow. However, spawns are in the favor of Young and Beautiful. They're still pushing forward. 1 minute and 40 seconds left on that clock. That Nano straight onto the Winston as well is helping to clean up the rest of the fight. Fusions finds himself a 2K. Same with Craggy. Shadow not quite finding the rest of the team. Did manage to sweep the rest up. Sweep under the carpet, in fact. British Hurricane holding that broom.
And now, Young and Beautiful, they're going to have a couple of mental blocks here as they come in because they invested 5 ultimates and gained but 1 kill onto Crusade, which was, I imagine, a misstep from Crusade. There was no reason to go that far out of a spawn when you knew that Shadow had already brought out that blade. You could just hide it out, wait a couple of seconds. You can afford to give up a tick if need be because your tanks are still out there as well. However, Fusion's here. He's trying to spot out the remainder of Young and Beautiful. Here they come. They've got a Transcendence, but very little else.
Transcendence to try and get Shadow onto the high ground. He's on that soldier now. It's going to get damage boosted. Fusions finds himself in the front line. He's got 3 people he's corralling. And same with Kib. He's just running them amok down in that corridor. But meanwhile, Kraken Fusions are going to go down. Fusions falling here could be pretty big. Almost had that Primal Rage online. He's going to have to respawn fairly quickly. Everybody from British Hurricane now carrying in the corner. Nice sleep onto the Diva. And Craggy's trying to find Shadow. Doesn't quite find the stick, but the damage might just be enough. Him and Kib end up running him through. But Happy Cool loses the Meg. And Nano Winston will make short work of Gustav as Kib's going to be there with the dash to slice him up. Hurricane now looking to move towards those semi-finals. They've got 20 seconds to work with. They're on match point. They might just see them at LAN. Young and Beautiful, this is their last chance to make the push and keep the series alive.
British Hurricane, normally I'd admonish they're giving up of a tick. However, as we came in, they decided what was more important. You could either give up a tick or you could go in and dismantle the backline of Young and Beautiful. But now Young and Beautiful, they have to get dismantling for themselves. They've got but 3 seconds remaining.
1 second on the clock. They managed to get a touch. Dempsey avoids that sleep dart. Overtime ticking down. This is the last hope and dream for Young and Beautiful to make it to the LAN finals. Craggy's already taken out Shadow and Gustav's going to fall as well. This help strike landed on the point, but little to no avail. Didn't find any kills whatsoever. It's all up to Dempsey, but Kib has already pulled the blade. Crusade ends up going down, but it was too little, too late. Dempsey, tried as he must, could not find any kills at the end of it all. British Hurricane find a 3-0 and we'll see them at LAN.
We will be seeing them at LAN 3-0. That's a pretty dominant victory there. They're going to be feeling good going into those finals. Oh, they must be feeling incredibly happy right now.
Semi-finals now on the board for British Hurricane. We'll see who they have to face as the next game will determine their opponent when we do reach the LAN finals. This is very exciting considering this game. I think we both talked about it before and said, honestly, if Hurricane can, if Young and Beautiful can find the momentum at the start of the maps, it could be it could go either way, but it was all Hurricane. The control was just way too strong for them, and they managed to roll it through to a 3-0.
Yeah, Young and Beautiful broken down, and to break down this match itself, we're going to be heading over to the desk.